my process is to, when I identify a bill, I will prepare a template and label the bill and put it in a folder on the legislative team site on SharePoint, and send a link to that document for that bill to, I've been sending it to our content experts for analysis. We can probably on retrospect, it might be as well to share it with the entire committee as a copy, but the request that we're making is that the content expert look at the bill and respond to it within a time frame that I suggest. Originally, I was suggesting that we do it within 48 hours because sometimes bills can move very quickly later in the session, and we want to be able to respond very quickly. But then it occurred to me that some bills that we may have some interest in may never be called, and what's the point in asking for a 48-hour response time? So I'm trying to assign a variable response request for our content readers, and Gretchen has agreed to sort of track that to make sure that we stay on task. I would ask that as you review a bill, and anyone who has access to Office 365 can access the link and comment on the bill. Do that, but we ask that you do that on the document on SharePoint itself, so that the update exists in our files and people can see who has commented and what their concerns are. I'll review the comments just to see if I have any perspective on those, and generally Susan will be able at that point to understand what the committee is interested in, and to then take it from there in terms of working on whatever our position is. Most of that's going to involve working with the division to understand, and department to understand their position, to look carefully at our concerns and meet with legislators as needed. So that's a general overview of what we're trying to get done with the SharePoint group. Key points again: to identify legislation, assign it for comment within a specified time frame, ask that the update be done on the bill document on the SharePoint website so that it's easily accessible, and then Vicki's going to maintain our tracking document. And as some bills that we're monitoring move and are scheduled for committees, Susan is responsible for knowing when all of that occurs. And we're asking that she update when the committee meeting has occurred on the tracking document, so that we would have that. So all of this is a work in progress. Nothing's locked in stone, but it's sort of a way that we've tried to map out the work of the group to have our records in a central place under our control and have some orderly process for getting legislation reviewed. Been very pleased with the turnaround on the legislation that has been analyzed thus far, and the quality of the thought that's gone into that. I'm going to, are there questions regarding all of that?
And before anybody asks any questions, I was going to say that since that's kind of what I was going to be discussing too, we can go ahead and, if there are questions, talk about this in more detail if need be.
Okay, and I didn't mean to.
No, you're fine. That's fine. That was the natural process, so that's fine. No problem.
Okay, then I'll shift to the administrative salary study update. I've got work I need to do on that. I'm trying to, my budget limits my schedule to about 20 hours a month, and I'm already working into the week after next. I will get to that within the next 2 weeks and have some finished product on that, and I apologize for continual delay. So that completes my update regarding the administrative salary study.
You want me to go ahead, Gretchen?
Sorry about that, Susan. Yes, if you don't mind, we can roll into your stuff. Thank you so much. Thanks, Wayne.
Thank you.
Thanks, Wayne. So I've been listening in on the DFACS calls, as some of you are as well. Many, many, many pieces of legislation are sort of being tracked and monitored because they may impact how programmatically the division approaches its work. So I'm so interested in those, but feel like Kevin, that's really what he is doing, is collecting that feedback. So I've tried to focus largely on the legislation that would impact employees in general and not programmatic, although many of you are weighing in on changes to some of the programmatic items. And if we decide as a group that we want to track that, certainly I'll hop right on that. I'm not aware of that yet. But the three things that I am paying attention to closely, the first one is Senate Bill 32, and I think it's favorable. We would feel positively about this unless I'm totally missing something. And it aims to just protect certain personal information about state employees, such as your address, information about your family members, cell phone numbers, unpublished numbers, that sort of thing. The second bill is one that was proposed by Gaines, and it aims to provide paid parental leave to state employees. I had to kind of pick through this one to see really what the intent outside of a family medical leave situation would be. And it seems to me on the surface that it's really talking more about or wanting to include hourly paid employees who may not always have the leave or the FML protection, but I don't see anything that we would oppose in that. Of course, want to know what your opinion is if you see something different. And then the final one is one that it aims to, it's House Bill 69. It aims to basically remove the sovereign immunity clause that holds harmless state employees from certain actions if they are conducting those actions as a routine part of their job. This bill seems to be written more toward law enforcement. However, the implications could impact our employees. So I want to watch this one closely. Honestly, I don't know that there'll be a whole lot of support for it if I'm just talking candidly with this group. But I want to watch it and just make sure it doesn't gain any momentum, because that could have a big impact on our staff as they go about trying to do their job, if they felt they could be held liable in some way. So that is my legislation. Wayne, did we send out the January report that I sent over to you? Have we sent that out yet? Because basically I probably just reviewed what's in that.
It's on the way out this morning. I've spent too much time sending out multiple meeting notices, but I did send that. It started its journey out around 11 o'clock, and it'll be in everybody's box by 11 this evening.
Okay. Well, basically you'll get a recap of what I just said and a link to those specific bills. I included, and Wayne added some great information, just some do's and don'ts around contacts. I thought that was important to just as a reminder, and some links to how you can locate your representative and find their contact information. And the other noteworthy, if it is noteworthy, are the budget hearings that have occurred over the last couple of weeks. Because, and this is really like high level Reader's Digest version of this, but because of the reduction of children in care in the budget that was laid out for out-of-home care for the number of children who were in care this time last year versus the reduction that we've experienced, we have a cost savings. And when you add that cost savings to it's about 6% of the match that Medicaid typically requires the state to put up, but that they returned to the states. So that is called you'll see this language in both the DHS and the DFACS and the public health and everyone else, but it's called the Federal Medical Assistance Percentage, FMAP. That allows us to actually increase funding in some areas such as adoptions, and there's legislation that is connected to some of the things that are being proposed in our budget. And a few other areas such as the cost of the EBT cards for the increase in the number of SNAP recipients. But basically at the end of the day, it's pretty much a wash. So we're not asking for any additional state funds, but the funding does not remain exactly in the category it was at the beginning of FY21. And so those shifts to move money into other areas are being covered by these savings. And it's basically just to keep things status quo and to prepare for being able to pay the adoption assistance portion for the increased number of adoptions that we've had. Heard some talk of perhaps increasing the amount of the adoptions assistance, but I haven't seen anything on that lately. The budget has passed the House. I do not think it has passed the Senate yet, although the hearing occurred last week. One other thing just of note that I think is important to point out, I had nothing to do with this. Wayne did a lot of this background work, but the number of positions that were approved for DHS to increase for adult protective services, it seems to be directly connected to a study similar to what Wayne is working on right now, where GPHSA had done the background work. And once a recommendation was needed, because we were prepared with the cost, we were able to make a recommendation and they could use that. And so the 13 case managers that are being added fall right in line with the research that Wayne had done in that area. So that's just good work making its way to light. And I wanted to point that out. The final thing that we are looking for, and we've been told that to be very optimistic that we will see this language, but it has not been introduced yet that I'm aware of, is around the, it was formerly HB 555 that was on its way to being passed last year. That's around the requirement of an evidentiary hearing for DFACS employees that would match other public service employees, that would require that hearing before an arrest warrant could be issued. We take the position that we want our employees included in with the other public service employees, and that legislation would make that, would seal that deal. We don't have a new bill that I'm aware of, but I've been told that the language will likely be included in another bill. I'm watching the DJJ. They have several pieces of legislation that are out there, just looking for it to see where it might show up. Haven't seen it yet, but I've been told that we've been told it should show up soon. I hope that wasn't too much rambling. That's my less than concise report.
It wasn't too much rambling, and thank you very much. I did have a quick question. So what was the first bill that you talked about? I know you said you were following HB 69 and 146, but I thought you talked about 3. What was the other one?
I did. It was Senate Bill 32.
Okay, thank you. I just didn't get that.
Mm-hmm. And, you know, honestly, working with communications when we would get an open records request, say the media wanted to get hold of someone's personnel file because they had some sort of disciplinary action. I want to think that personal information was redacted. We may have been doing it incorrectly, but I'm not sure. Wayne, it looks like you can weigh in on something. What is being added here short of unlisted phone number and phone number? Do you have some insight on that, Wayne?
Yes, just to backtrack a bit, association's history in work in the General Assembly. The reason we do not provide information from personnel files and from productivity files is a direct result of the work of the association to protect that information. And it took us the General Assembly. What Senate Bill 32 is tweaking that a bit by not providing information that was not previously clear that it is protected, and that includes information about spouses and other family member contacts, including their cell phone numbers and other things. So what it is doing is expanding that protection to cover some areas that apparently people had questions about. The basic protection that all state employees have from having their personal information disclosed is a result of work that was done during the time John Buffum was our executive director and I was legislative chair. And it was something that I think we can take some comfort in knowing that that information is protected. So.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Susan, this is Vicki. I have a question. Are we close to having the 2021 goals and priorities ready to present to the board?
You know, we are very close to that. We are as
Excellent.
close as me finishing it. That's as in, so
Yeah.
you know what? I'll do that. I'll do that by would Friday be okay?
It's fine with me. Are we on a timeline, Wayne, to have it? Is it present by the 15th? Is that correct?
Yes, but and I'm glad that came up because I meant to ask about that because I was feeling like that I had sort of lost track as to where we were, and with most things that are behind like that, it's sitting in my in basket waiting on me to do something. So I'm glad to know that. But we'll turn it around as soon as we have that. Some excellent work has been done already, I think, and it's a matter of tightening that up and getting it out. It's not mandatory, but I think it's just good form to have a set of goals and priorities approved by the board of directors to guide our behavior. And I'm glad to see some progress. That was one of the things I was wondering about and wanting to ask, but had forgotten about. So I'm glad. Thanks, Vicki, for bringing that up.
You're so welcome.
Janice gave some great feedback and I just need to integrate it. And it's been on my list for several days and I just keep moving it. So a deadline is good for me. That's great.
Well, we certainly appreciate all that you're doing. We really, really do.
Yes, we do. I second that. Thank you so much. And thanks, Vicki, for remembering about that. I forgot as well. So I don't really have anything else additional to add, even though I'm down here to talk about reviewing the legislation. As Wayne indicated earlier, I will be trying to follow up with everybody who's been assigned some things just to kind of see where you are with the feedback and getting it in. I've had some computer issues, well, not really computer issues, some email issues. So I'm a little behind. So I'm going to follow up with what I can remember to follow up with. But like Wayne said, it's pretty easy to go in and do it. I was working in it earlier. And so just let us know if you have any questions. Wayne's done a great job setting that up. And everybody should be able to have access to the SharePoint. Has anybody had a difficulty getting into it? I know earlier people did, and Wayne was able to send a different link. But is anybody experiencing any problems with accessing SharePoint?
I got in there just fine without any problems.
Okay, thank you. And let me look, see if I put anything in the chat.
Gretchen, you want me to go over the slides for the procedures, or do you
Yeah, you
want
can.
to?
That's fine. Yeah, that would be great.
Okay, are you
I
ready?
can go over those. Yeah, if you want to pull them up. Thank you.
Okay,
So basically, I don't want to read all this, but this is so Vicky, or Vicky sent this out to everybody earlier, so you have it here.
well, no, it hadn't been sent out yet.
Oh, you didn't send this slide. You just sent I thought I got something from you earlier. But,
Well, yeah, it was a slideshow. I needed to know if you needed any changes. So
Oh,
no,
no,
I haven't posted this yet because it hadn't become final. So
okay, yeah. So it looked good to me. So will you post this so that people can have it?
I certainly will.
And will you be posting it in SharePoint?
Or I can send it to Wayne to post. I'm not sure if I have.
Can you do that though? I mean, I think you can you post stuff in SharePoint? I should know that, but.
I'll figure it out.
You can
Okay, well,
save
one thing
it.
that we did
Yeah.
talk about is one thing I was going to mention is if we needed to get somebody to kind of do a little tutorial for us about all the different things that we can do with SharePoint. So we were going to be reaching out to, I needed to do that and I just reminded myself, the lady that handles that for us. And who was that, Wayne, again? You told me.
Rhonda?
No,
Oh.
it's not Rhonda. It's the
Jeannie Lane is the
yes,
education chair.
thank you.
And
Yes.
we felt it might be a good topic for our lunch.
That's
and
what it
learn
was,
series.
right, for a luncheon, yes, that's it. I was gonna be letting her know to see if that you all thought, and just getting your feedback, do y'all, and Angie, I see you're on the call. Thank you for joining us. What are your thoughts about that, everybody? Do you think this would be a good topic for a lunch and learn, to learn more about how to maneuver in SharePoint?
Yes.
Thank you, Jan. Anybody else? Angie, what do you think? Is she still on here?
Yeah, she's here. She's still there.
Okay.
Be beneficial as well.
I think it'll be
Sorry,
great.
guys, I was still muted. And the fact that I got homeschooling going on next to me.
Yeah, I understand. So, but do you think it's something we could do? So far people are saying, yeah, they think it would be a good idea. And I thought so too. So I'll definitely reach out to Jenny when we get off the call and see if she can get something set up.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea.
Okay, thank you, Angie.
Okay, you ready for me to go through the rest of them? Okay.
Yeah, please do. Yeah.
So this slide just basically, maps out the procedure for how everything's going to flow. And then this is an example of what the analysis, the template that Wayne sends out to the content experts for them to, you see the link there. I don't know if you can see my mouse, but there's a link that's in the document that takes them directly to the bill. And then it being on SharePoint, they can just go ahead and type in their comments from their review onto the document so that it just continues to be a living document until we're finished with all the reviews. And then Wayne will take them and analyze all the information and present to Susan what we need her to do. So then the next thing, this is an example of when you go to the Georgia General Assembly, which is, you can see the website address at the top, www.legis.ga.gov. This is where it takes you. When you do the link to that legislative bill, it takes you to this screen. And it shows you who the sponsors of the bill were, what committee it's in, the first reader summary about what the bill is. So it takes you to that screen. The next example of when you click, let me go back.
Right, I was going to say when you click the current version.
Yeah, when you click the current version there in the center, it takes you to the actual bill itself and you can read it in its entirety. So when they're doing changes, now sometimes it's new legislation, but most of the time it's a change of the Georgia code. So when you're looking at the bill, the way you can tell what changes are being made is If it's underlined, that means it's adding to that paragraph, to that section. It's an addition to what was already there. If it's struck through, that means they're deleting it out of it. So you can tell what changes are going to be made by the additions or subtractions. Now, if it's a change to the Georgia code, it will have in there, so you see right here, it says, said title is further amended by revising code section 1983. That directs you to the Georgia code. So you would go back to the Georgia Assembly website, to the home page, and the menu will give you an option to go to the Georgia code. And then when you get there, it's going to look like this. So you would just follow the path, the yellow brick road, wherever it said it was title whatever, title 9, title 12, chapter, and then you would go to the code so you could see how it fits in and what the change would affect. If you want to do all that reading, that's how you figure out what's being changed and how it goes to the code. And then after the bills are analyzed and the summary is sent, I will add it. This is the example of the tracking sheet. And this will be posted on the SharePoint as well. So it shows you the bill number, who it's sponsored by, the title, first reader summary, status history. And I'll go in every few days and I'll check it to see where it is in the process. And I'll update that status history so you can see where it's at and how it's moving. Any committees it's referred to, and the recommendations that we have, whether it's to oppose or support or monitor, any notes. And then over here where it has the bill number, that's a link. I don't know if you can see my cursor or not, but there's a link that will take you directly to that bill if you want to see that. So that's what's going to be out on the SharePoint to show you what's all in process and where it is. That's kind of our procedure for reviewing legislation and how it's going to roll. Of course, you know, this is new to us and we can make adjustments and changes as we need to, but this is a start, and if we need to tweak it, we can. But that's kind of it. Anybody have any questions?
This is Janice Tidwell. I don't have any questions, but I just want to compliment you guys for the process. Ellen and Wayne both know how we did it back in the dark ages. And it was a hit and miss, and we had to beg people to review bills. And anyway, you guys have done a wonderful job of organizing this.
Thank you. It was a group effort. For sure. All right, Gretchen, I'll hand it back over to you if there's no other questions for me on that.
I just thank you, Vicki. You did a great job, and I appreciate that. I just wanted to get a little bit of feedback. So Danny and Wayne, Danny and Jonathan, have you all? Has it been for you all utilizing the SharePoint to review some legislation? Because I know you all had some to review.
Danny can speak, but I thought it was good. You know, I know I really love the system, and at first I just sent out a Word document because I wasn't sure if you wanted it to be on the SharePoint at that point. But now I think I understand it a little bit better, especially after this meeting too. And I was just going through the SharePoint, and I really appreciate the Excel spreadsheet where you outline the House bills and summarize. That gives me a kind of more of a complete picture of what's going on. And then the actual, but the document itself, I think is very user-friendly. No issues and concerns at all. So thank you. I agree. Great job.
Yeah, and Vicki, all that credit for the spreadsheet. Wonderful. She did a great job of getting that in there. But yeah, I think it's user-friendly as well. Did you have anything to add, Danny?
Just hello, and I agree with Jonathan.
Hello. Okay, great. All right. So if nobody else has any questions or concerns or comments, then I don't have anything else. Just want to remind everybody that our next meeting is going to be Wednesday. It'll also be on the 3rd. So it'll be Wednesday, March the 3rd at 1 o'clock. And if there's anything in between that we need to let you know, we'll shoot out an email and let you all know that. Vicki, you got any closing remarks?
I'm just excited about the participation, the engagement. I guess I could turn my camera on if I can find, hold on a minute. There we go. I've got too many things going. Okay, can you see me now?
Yes, we see you.
But I just, seriously, I just want to have a heartfelt thank you to all the people that are onboarded with us, that are helping us plug along. We've got a lot of momentum. We've got a lot of engagement, group effort, and it's exciting. It's exciting that I believe that we definitely have our arms around this legislative session, and that with as many eyes that's on it, that we can certainly catch and capture and make our voices heard as to what we need to do going forward. So I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart for everything that everyone has done. And it's exciting. I look forward to the rest of the session and what all will be accomplished through this process. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Vicki, for those remarks. Wayne, Susan, you all have anything you'd like to add?
No, a big ditto to all of the positive comments and feedback. It's very exciting to see the work of this committee and our other committees in making our association stronger. We're in a real wonderful spot right now, and it's great to see that. Thank you.
Great, thanks. Susan, you anything? If not, that's
No,
fine.
I just concur.
Okay, thank you. And Angie, do you have anything as our president? Is anything you'd like to say before we end the meeting?
No, I'm just gonna agree with Wayne. I think, in the past, committees have just kind of been like meeting at the conferences or the trainings, and it didn't really go any further. There was discussion and it kind of just sat. So it's really exciting to see. I was on the membership meeting earlier, all these committees coming together and really meeting and discussing and moving things forward. So great work. I like everything I've talked about today. It's just very exciting, and I'm excited to have Susan on board. Yay, Susan.
Yes, we're excited too. Yay.
So just great job. Like Wayne said, this is awesome. So.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks everyone. And we will talk to you later. All right. Thanks, Vicki, again. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.